Hey, I hope that you're doing well. I hope that virtual learning is going all right for you. I know this is pretty different for everybody, but I hope that you're getting your stuff done, including art. Remember, it's not optional this year like it was in the spring. It is expected that you guys are finding some time to get your artworks done. All right, so make sure you're keeping up. You don't want to keep putting them off and then just end up with a big mountain of art homework that you got to get done. Today we are going to do another digital project, and this one is based on an artist named NeSpoon. So kind of an odd name. NeSpoon is not actually her real name. So NeSpoon, her real name is Elzbieta Dimna, and I might be saying that wrong. She's from a different country, so a lot of times things are pronounced differently, but I think that's how you say it. And you might be wondering, well, why does she go by the name NeSpoon? And that is because she is a street artist. And a street artist is somebody who makes artwork out in public, so a lot of times on the sides of buildings or walls. And typically street artists have like a fake name that they go by. Sometimes that's because it helps keep them anonymous so people don't know who they are. In this case, though, we do know who NeSpoon is. Other times, those street artists, we have no idea who they are. They work secretly. So she's a street artist. She's also a ceramicist, so she works a little bit with clay. And she also does some sculptures using like weavings or lace. And we'll see some examples of all of these things too. I couldn't find when she was born, although she appears to be pretty young. It did say, though, that she started creating her artwork in 2009. So about 11 years ago is when she kind of started her artistic career. And she is from Warsaw, which is a city in Poland. And here's Poland, this little orange one, and then Warsaw's kind of this reddish dot. We would be way over here in Wisconsin. Okay, so we're right about here on the map. She's way over here. And you'll notice too in our video of her that she'll have an accent. She's kind of hard to understand, and that's just because she typically speaks a different language. She doesn't usually speak English, so her language or English skills aren't quite as good as ours are. So when we look at her artwork, she's really inspired by lace. And you may have seen lace before on like clothing. Sometimes girls wear shirts that have lace on them. You may have seen it on a tablecloth. A lot of times fancy tablecloths have lace on the side of them. And lace is like a really fancy like weaving almost. Typically they're either done by hand or by a special machine that can help with the really fancy patterns. And usually when we look at lace too, it's symmetrical. So that means if I split it in half, it would be the same on both sides. And laces can be different too, depending on where you're from or where you're looking at lace. It's going to be different. So a lace made in the United States is going to look different than a lace made in Warsaw, Poland, or a lace made in Germany. And a lot of that is influenced by just the cultures of those places. Now, NeSpoon, she doesn't make the lace herself. She's oftentimes inspired by laces that she finds and then uses those. So I said that she was a sculptor. Here is one of her sculptures. She takes these pieces of lace. They're almost like doilies, like you'd put under a coffee cup or something to help keep the table clean. She'll take these doilies made of lace and then she strings them out so it almost takes on like a look of a sculpture. Here's another example of it. So it goes from being something that's flat to being two-dimensional to becoming 3D once she strings them up like this. She also does a little bit of work with clay where she'll press a piece of clay oftentimes into like a gap. So here she's pressed it into like the knot of a tree. And then she actually takes a doily and presses that doily or that piece of lace into that clay. And then it creates a texture of that lace. Sometimes she does it on trees, sometimes she does it on like missing spots on a building or on a wall, so just kind of anywhere she can find little gaps. We might actually see a video after this of her making one of these, so it's kind of cool to see how she makes it and presses the lace into the clay. But what I'm really drawn to are her large murals that she does. And a mural is typically an artwork made on the side of a building or on a wall. She did not do this painting right here. Okay, that's not one of hers, but we can see all the lace paintings that she did throughout this big like courtyard. Once again, so they're symmetrical. So if I took this painting right here and I cut it right down the middle, this left side would look just like the right side. Same as over here. You know, if I cut this one in half, it would be the same on the left and the right. Okay, so we'll notice that with a lot of her artwork, same as this one that we can see her working on, that if I cut it right down the middle, same on the left as it is on the right. And this one, it also looks like if I cut it going horizontally this direction, then the top would be the same as the bottom. So oftentimes in like lace, we see different kinds of symmetry. So it's not just symmetrical one way or two ways. Sometimes you see something that has radial symmetry, where the symmetry actually goes in a circle. That's kind of what we're going to be doing today with our artwork. Now here's one that doesn't look like it's symmetrical, but it still has that lace effect. You can see the little intricate white lines. Typically that's done with like a thread. If you had like real actual lace, obviously this one is done in paint. Notice too how big her artworks are, right? They're really, really large. A lot of times they take up the whole entire side of a building. Other times they're a bit smaller. I mean, these are still a pretty good size, okay, but obviously not as big as the ones that we saw before. A couple more. This one obviously is symmetrical too. If I draw that line down the middle, the left is just like the right. And here's kind of a cool example of how she does some of those smaller ones. She actually makes like a big cutout of the lace, and then she holds it up to a wall and actually spray paints, so any of those areas that are cut out are going to become white. And then when she goes to take this away, any spots where the cardboard or that metal, whatever this is made out of, is going to be left whatever the wall color is. So that was NeSpoon. I hope that you guys enjoyed learning about her. We're going to be making a digital mural kind of inspired by her, so you are going to be using 2 different apps, and you're going to start off by first creating a variety of different line designs, kind of like what she has, and then we're going to work on taking those line designs and putting them onto a picture of a wall that I took. You can kind of create your own digital mural based on NeSpoon then, or NeSpoon, excuse me, not NeSpool. All right, I hope that you guys rock it. Can't wait to see what you guys make, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.